Hey guys, so just a really quick example of how the control mentality can actually cause more harm than good. So a lot of the time we hear, hey, we've got to be thinking a certain way to perform well, we've got to be thinking positive, we've got to be feeling positive, and when we feel good, we're going to perform well, and all that sort of thing. That message is obviously flawed, it's well intentioned, but it's ineffective. And that's because we're kind of trying to control an internal state rationally, which is not really possible. So the example of this is a perfect example really is when we're trying to go to sleep. And when we try and go to sleep, if we actually try and force it, if we try and sort of try really, really hard to get to sleep, and we do all these things to try and put us to sleep, it actually makes the struggle even worse, and we become even more frustrated with ourselves because we're not asleep. And we can develop this spiral where people develop sort of those moments of insomnia where they just cannot get to sleep because they're trying so hard to get to sleep. And that's why it happens often when we feel like we need to sleep, or we feel like we have to sleep before maybe a big competition or something like that. So in those moments, if we just have that willingness to go, okay, I'm feeling a few feelings at the moment and I'm struggling to get to sleep, but I'm willing to maybe not sleep, or I'm willing to sort of feel these things and just accept that, then eventually we drift off to sleep. Or another way is maybe you read a book and that sort of distracts your mind from trying to go to sleep, and it sort of switches it to something else and you drift off. That's the same sort of reason why behind they tell people to count sheep or count to them in their head and that sort of stuff. It puts your focus on something else that you're doing in the present moment rather than where you want to be. So trying to get to sleep is almost like trying to put yourself in the future and trying to really control that state and relax yourself, which, as you may have experienced yourself when you're trying to get to sleep, it's really not possible oftentimes, and occasionally it might work for you, but it's really often a struggle to force yourself to get to sleep, just like it's a struggle to put yourself into the zone that we call, this magical place that we think that we need to find. So with flow, it's the same thing. If we need to force ourselves into that, if we feel like we have to create it, then we're going to have that same struggle. It's going to be like that person who's sitting there trying really hard to get to sleep. Well intentioned, but oftentimes that's not how it works. So that's why we use the language, hey, let's slip into flow, let's slip into that state, because it is a psychological state, a state of consciousness in many ways. So in a similar way that sleep is, we slip into sleep and we want to slip into that flow, and then we can really be in the moment and express ourselves in our sport or our performance of any sort. Thanks for listening, guys.